Okay, welcome to the 12th common session of SunoikisisDC Digital Classics 2017. Today we have again a session about Herodotus, but today is about reading Herodotus in Teheran. As you know, we had previous sessions about Herodotus, reading Herodotus in Cairo, reading Herodotus in Tbilisi last week, and today reading Herodotus in Teheran. Our guest is Professor Keramati from Teheran, and today he will show us problems and issues for translating the text of Herodotus in Farsi, and also other problems concerning the text of Herodotus and the meaning of his text for the history and for the Achaemenid era. But today with us we also have Maryam Foradi from the University of Leipzig. Maryam is a colleague working in Leipzig. She's an expert of translation studies. She is from the University of Tehran, and she can introduce Professor Keramati better than me, and she can explain a bit more about his work and the work of his team in Tehran for reading ancient Greek and translating Greek into Farsi. So Maryam, hello. Okay, so I started, I have to share the screen today because we are using also Skype, so give me 1 second. I'm sharing the screen. And Maryam, let me know if you can see the screen. Okay, excellent. I don't think, or maybe I didn't mention that. So for our audience, we have your transcription in GitHub. It's publicly available. So there is a page with the description of this session and also the links. I don't know, Maryam, if you wanted to add something. So everything, yeah.
Therefore, I have to say here that we use two methods in translating classical Greek into New Persian. One, to study bilingual or trilingual inscriptions to find items in translation directly from Greek to New Persian. And two, when we cannot find items in the languages, we have to study the ways in which European languages translate classical Greek into their own. And we have to adopt their ways to translate different syntactical structures into each other. Here, classical Greek syntactic structure into Farsi, Noticing this, I have translated paragraph 1 of book 7 of the history of Herodotus, and I add some comments to explain such differences between syntactic structures and the ways to express or to interpret the main sense into New Persian, which you can see in the Alpha-use page in the link. And I can explain my comments here. But before this explanation, you can see an example of comparison between Western Middle Iranian languages. I mean Parthian and Middle Persian. To which New Persian or Farsi is a following phase. And Koine Greek. Here you see Middle Persian version of the last line of Shapur's inscription on Kaaba Zartusht. The first row shows ideograms. The second row shows its Middle Persian pronunciation. کو که پس اما خواهدهای به آن یزدان او پریستاتر او کامکتر به کو اوی ایچ یزد ان اوغان ایار بوین چگان اما. You can see who, which is a particle that can express result and that can form consecutive clause. Here, ku, oy, ich, yazad, en, ogon, ayol, babin. The English translation you can see here on the third row is from Brunner. And you can see he translates the particle ku as so that to him the gods will also be friends. This is the Parthian version. The last but one line of the inscription. On the middle row, you can see its Parthian pronunciation. هایش که پس از اما برنده او فرح اهد هایش ابر یزدان خیر او کردکان تخش کو. Here you can see the particle again, which forms consecutive clause. Ku, yazad, alyal, balen. And following it, you can see Brunner's translation into English and the use of so that to him the gods will be friends. Ancient Greek version, or here Koine Greek. This is a Koine Greek, not a classic Greek. Use hina here with future indicative and then with primary conjunctive or subjunctive. Hina hoy the oy boy toy o toy son tai kai das the kirten he o ton toy son tai. Hina is used here instead of ku. And here, based on the Parthian version and Middle Persian versions of the line, we can find that this is a Koine Greek because in classical Greek with indicative or with primary conjunctive shows destination or final clauses, not consecutive clauses. But here, according to the Middle Iranian version of the line, we can find that Hina here acts as its coiner role. Therefore, we can translate the Greek sentence into English and into Persian as a consecutive clause, not as a final clause. We can translate it into English, and also that man who will be after us and will be fortunate, also let that man be eager for the affairs and rights of the gods. So that, okay, which shows, as before, like Brunner's translations of Middle Iranian languages, so that as before can here show consequence or consecutive clause, so that the gods will be assistant to him and make a settling for themselves. And the last line or the last row shows here a direct Persian translation of the Greek sentence that shows consecutive clause based on understanding of Middle Persian versions aforementioned. You can see the word ke, which I show that with a line underneath. Yes, that shows consequence. This is Kaaba is pushed in first province, and you can here you can see some. You can see some description about the building and its source in Iranica, on Iranica. Here you can see one man works on the inscriptions inscribed on the faces of the Persian Kaaba. This is a picture from Wikipedia, and this is a picture from a part of the Parthian version of Shapur the First inscription. This is a diagram, a branch diagram that shows the family of the Iranian languages. You can see here the old face. From Proto-Iranian, we can see some languages had been derived, like Northwestern Iranian, Southwestern Iranian, Median, and East Iranian, and then Old Avestan. and then Old Persian, Scythian, Young Avestan, and the Middle phase, the Middle Iranian, Parthian, Middle Persian, and some others. And nowadays we have modern Iranian languages, including New Persian or Farsi. Therefore, when we rely on Middle Iranian languages to translate some Greek items into New Persian, we can ignore other languages, and it may help us to reach more correct translations from Greek into New Persian. If there is any question or received question, I can consider it. But if there is not, I can explain my translation of paragraph 1 of book 7 in Persides and Perside and Alpha side. Is there any question?
So right, as for now, I don't get any questions. I will update you if there is any. You can go forward.
Yeah. If excuse me. If yes, if I can show here my Persian translation and the Greek text on Persides, I can explain my translation. How I can show this?
If you just click on the link that you have shown in your slides.
Okay. Where is that?
Go back to your slides.
Yes. I am trying to find it.
I think it was
yes,
in slide number 4.
Yeah. Yeah. 4 or 2.
I'm not sure. You click on it.
Yes. 4.
Yeah.
No.
Open hyperlink.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Can I am trying to reach the page from other source.
Yeah.
Mrs. Foradi, can you see the page?
No, it's not. So I see something, but there is no sentence here.
Yeah. I can see another system, but not mine.
Okay. So do you want to?
Yes, I want to explain my comments. My comments regarding
Yes.
translation.
Yes.
Maryam, if you click the link in GitHub, you can see the page with with the alignment.
Okay. I can open this.
You can open it.
No,
Okay.
no, right. Not. I'm trying to.
Professor Keramati, you can also click on the link in the GitHub page. I think that the GitHub page is open in your computer, and you can click on it.
So, Monica, I think that he has tried that, but he doesn't see it.
Because I can see the sentence.
But not mine.
I can see the passage.
And, I can explain my comment, but it is important that the audience see it.
Okay, I think that everyone can see this. If the audience can go there and see this, because I'm seeing your comments in my page, in my own page.
Okay, very well. Here, the first word in the Greek text is epi or epi. Okay. Can you see?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I translate it into Persian as a particle, as a temporal particle, because epi or epi here is also a temporal particle. In my comment, can you see my comment? In Persian, I have used adverbial conjunction of time corresponding to its Greek. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. Another comment, I put on the word maches. Maches is a genitive verb. And in Persian, we have no case ending that shows genitive or accusative and other declensions of noun. But we have another way to interpret the role of disgenitive in Greek into New Persian. In my comment, you can see in Persian, there is neither an article nor any case ending. Therefore, instead of the genitive declension, I have had to use the preposition darbare. Darbare is a translation of the word peri. Peri in English can be translated as above, and above can be translated as darbare into New Persian. With the genitive signs as ye, which darbare ye. Here I have used a sign in Persian entitled as ezafe, which is a sign can express any relation between two substantives or two nouns when they can form a relation such an attribution. Such a sign also can be used in Persian to interpret any relation between a particle and its substantive. Here, like peri and tesmaches. we have to notice that there is no article in Persian, and therefore we can't translate the article tes here into Persian. Here we have another comment on the second article tes. As you know, the second article here has been used to show an attribution for the word maches. The attribution is en marathoni genomenes. The use of such article with the participle genomenes can form a relative sense, and I have used the Persian word ke that you now familiar. You now are familiar with the word, with the Persian word from the Shapur's inscription. You can see its comment. Such correspondence is not a syntactic one. However, since the Greek syntactic structure shows a qualifying genitive, we can interpret the sense by the New Persian particle ke that acts here as a relative particle. Noticing here that in Persian here, I have not used any participle to translate the Greek participle into Persian. Instead, I have used a relative clause. Here, another command for the participle genomenes. Since I use a relative structure instead of a qualifying genitive, I have to translate the Greek genitive participle into a new Persian verb. Okay, I have to translate the participle into verb because I have used a relative clause with the particle ke. In addition, since the adverbial clause expresses a time before the principal verb time, I have to choose the Persian verb time as pluperfect. Notice that such a translation is an optional one, and I could translate the Greek sentence into a closer Persian syntactic structure, but with a more difficult sense for Persian audience. I mean that I can use the Greek structure with participle into a Persian syntactic structure with participles also. But this may be seen more archaic by the Persian audience. Another comment here is on the word basila. Basila here in the Greek text is in accusative, because we have a particle para, and my comment is this. The Greek word after the preposition is in an oblique case, showing here an accusative case. In New Persian, there is no case ending, but the use of the preposition here, a preposition in Persian, nazd, which is corresponding to the Greek para, and can be translated into English as beside or near, with the substantive shah or king. It means king. Shows that the substantive is an oblique case. Here I mean that a preposition in Persian with a substantive can express that the substantive is in an oblique case and not a nominative substantive. But we have not in Persian difference between the types of oblique substantives. We cannot say that one substantive in Persian is accusative, another is genitive, another is dative, and so on. We can only say that such substantives are obliques and not nominative. Some of them are direct objects of the verb, others are indirect objects. Another word which I have put a comment on it is the word hustasteos, which is genitive, and its article tone only an article which refers to darayon, which is accusative. Para basila darayon ton hustasteos. Ton refers here to darayon or basila. Hustasteos can here interpret an attribution for King Darius. And we can show such attribution in Persian with ezafe, as before I had interpreted. With ezafe. My comment is this. The Greek construction shows an attribution. In New Persian, there is no article, and I have to translate such an attribution. I mean, such an attributive construction without any article. Why I am using the sign of attribution, that is ezafe. At the end of the word, ustas. Therefore, I reach the attribution hustasbi can be translated into English as hustaspan, as hustas. Another word is kekharagimeno. This is a participle, a perfect participle. Tai prin megalos kekharagimeno. I have to translate this participle into Persian in a form which is a relative clause, and I comment this as here. The use of participle without any article in the Greek sentence has been translated into New Persian as an adjective or clause or relative clause with the relative particle ke and the definite verb خشم گرفته بود, which is a Persian translation for که خرج منو. Therefore, instead of the use of participle, I am using here a relative clause as an adjective clause, which is an attribute for the king Darius or Darius. Toisi Athanaioisi here is an object for the participle kharaj meno. I translate this dative substantive into Persian using a preposition and a substantive because we have no declension, noun declension in Persian, and therefore I have to use preposition to show that the substantive is an oblique, as well as to show that the meaning of toisi athenaioisi is an objective meaning regarding the participle kharaj menon in its Persian corresponding sentence. The verb, the definite verb خشم گرفته بود. And my comment, you can see here, the preposition bar means on, means about, means regarding. The preposition bar with the substantive Athenian, that is the Athenians. In English, we can translate bar Athenian as on the Athenians. Here expresses the indirect object of the verb, of the definite Persian verb, corresponding to the participle که خرج منون, and then corresponds to the Greek substantive in dative case with its article. Therefore, I cannot translate its article directly into Persian. But since the article shows an oblique case, here dative or dative, and I use the preposition nazde, I can translate the meaning expressed by the dative case into the mind of Persian audience by the use of the preposition and its substantive in Persian. Another word is espole. Diaten es sardis espole. In fact, 10 espole. Here I have used the word, the Persian for tahajum, that can be translated into English as attack or invasion. Here, my comment is the new Persian construction. You can see substantive 2, preposition substantive 1 as تهاجم به سارد or invasion into Sardis. Substantive 2, I mean here Sardis. Substantive 1, I mean here invasion and its preposition on. Therefore, the new Persian construction employs substantive 2 plus preposition. Here, I have to explain that Farsi or New Persian is writing from right to left, and therefore you have to read this as substantive 1 plus preposition plus substantive 2. Therefore, employs proposition plus substantive 2, besar or on Sardis or into Sardis, as an attribution for substantive 1 invasion or terrorism. Such a construction can be used in translating Greek constructions as article plus attribution and substantive. Therefore, you can see other comments on the text, and it may be useful to translate, to teach translating from Greek into Persian, but it needs more respect. I think that when students pass the preliminary stages in Greek or classical Greek, they can use such methods of translation to improve their Greek and to compare the syntactic structures between New Persian and classical. And if there is any question, I will be very happy to answer the questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Professor Keramati, thank you very much for this session. It was really very, very interesting, because even if most of us doesn't know Persian, so we could see really the issues and the difficulties that we have for translating Greek, in this case, into Persian. But of course, this is there are similar problems also for translating Greek into other languages. I have a question about there is an echo. I don't know if you hear the echo, otherwise I can go on. Okay.
I cannot hear your voice without echo.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so I can go on. So my question is about the translation alignment, and maybe Maryam can add something, given that well, she works with Persian, in the sense that when you align Greek and Persian, so how do you produce the alignment? Because we have seen that we can't have a word-by-word alignment. So do you have, I don't know, guidelines, documentation for that?
I cannot understand it because
maybe because this is a question about the tool, about Alpheus, where we could see the Greek text and the Persian, and you explained in details the problems of translating Greek into Persian. But for a student, if you want to use Alpheus for aligning Greek and Persian, how can we do that? So how can a student do that? I don't know, Maryam, if this question is clear, because you know the tool, you know Alpheus.
Yeah, sure. So
how can you use Persian to translate Greek?
No, how we can use the tool that you have used, you know, that you have introduced. Does it make sense to use this tool for translating and teaching Greek to the students?
Yes, the students have to pass the preliminary stages in Greek, and I guess that also in Persian. Okay, because they have to understand syntactical structures and their differences, and they have. I think that they have to learn somehow Persian and Greek, and then they can use such a method in learning Persian or Greek. It needs some preliminary studies in the languages separately.
Okay, thank you for your answer. Yes, I think you're definitely right in the sense that working on translations is fundamental for learning a language. And in this case, we can see how these digital tools that we have been developing can be very helpful. Of course, the problem in this case is that when you start aligning something with Alpheus, you get in trouble in the sense that you have to take decisions. So how many words do I align? Do I want to align everything or just the word when this is possible? So I think that this example was really perfect to show these problems and how it's difficult, for example, to develop guidelines for translation alignments.
But you know,
yeah, Maryam, please.
What Anis is mentioning here, so that's very true. If we can produce the translations that are perfect to be aligned, so there is just two words not aligned, so probably we can also have guidelines, and based on these guidelines we can translate the text in a way that, so that's my opinion, that probably students with the limited knowledge of ancient Greek or Persian to be able to follow. I don't say that they can perfectly align, but if we have guidelines and if we have word by word translations, then probably it makes sense that the students can use that. I mean even the students in the preliminary stages.
Okay, excellent. This is important for me because I don't know Persian, so this answer is important to show how the tool can be used. Thank you.
Yeah, or Arash, if you want to disagree with me.
You explain my intention very well.
Okay, great, thank you.
I can explain more on the text. May I? May I?
Yes, of course.
Okay. We have on the text word after esbolen. Kai de kai tote. Okay.
Yeah.
Here, if you move your mouse on Kai, you can see these four words are and another fifth word they at the first of the paragraph after a point. These five words are corresponding to only 3 Persian words at the first of Persian paragraph. Yes?
Yeah.
Because the 4 Greek words after Poland convey an emphasis. And therefore, to show this emphasis, I have to translate 2 of them at the first of the Persian paragraph. Also, I have to translate the word de, which is the second word of the paragraph after F5, as a word at the first of the Persian paragraph. And here we have a restriction or a limitation to translate such Greek words into Persian. We have to know how in Persian we can explain or interpret any emphasis. And any Persian student who study New Persian, at first has to be familiar with such Persian ways to interpret emphasis and to use equivalence corresponding to Greek words that show emphasis in Greek text. Such a familiarity, in my opinion, is very important, and we can use such method in translation only after a preliminary familiarity with both languages. But I have to comment here, we need more studies about the method in teaching Persian to foreigners or teaching classical Greeks into Persian for Persian audience. And I will be happy to conduct such a study in future.
That would be great.
Yes.
I take it as a promise.
Well, this is what we need. Yeah.
If there is any question, I will happy to answer.
I don't know if there are other questions, but Professor Keramati, thank you, because you explained the concrete problems thanks to this example. And well, yes, we need more work. Yes, of course. Well, thank you for that. We take it as a promise, as Maryam said, but in general, this is a problem we have and the need we have. And given that we are working in the digital humanities, we need more data. So we need more work in general, for translating these texts, for understanding them, for teaching foreigners how to learn these languages. And then definitely we need digital data. So the use of Alpheus is an example. So how to align these texts, how to produce these alignments that can be useful for many different purposes, starting from learning a language to study, for example, a text of Herodotus and its historical problems, linguistic problems, and so on. And so, Well, really, thank you very much for this presentation because it was very clear, even if the subject is very difficult and very complex. And thank you for the work that you have been doing with your students and with your team, because this is really great. And this is something that we try to encourage through our community, also through Sunoikisis. So I don't know if there are other questions. I don't see other questions also in the chat.
Thank you very much. And excuse me for my bad English language.
No, it was perfect. It was clear, really. So everything worked, and so thank you for really for this presentation and also for your description. We have it in GitHub. It's clear. We have the links, and the links work, so we can see the text. And so if someone wants to check the text, to study the text, is available online. So really thank you for this session and for your contribution. I hope you can join again, maybe next year, and hopefully maybe one day we can discuss together all these problems concerning classical text, classical Greek text. And okay, and also I want to thank Maryam Foradi because she helped us today, and she's also our connection with Teheran, and so she's helping us a lot in promoting this connection and this working between Germany and Iran.
Thank you, Monica. It's my pleasure.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I think that the session is over for today. It was really great. I'm happy. And see you next week at 5 p.m. Central European time. And next week we will have again a session about name entities. So thank you all, and goodbye and good night. And see you.
Goodbye.
Bye. See you.